Why do our 20s have to be so hard? Why am I struggling? Ooh, so much. Do you know where the danger is? Guys, at break, the things that make me happy in my late 20s is my little one pooing. TMI, TMI. Yes, she pooed. She hadn't pooed in days and she was sick. So having a poo is absolutely amazing. These are the kind of things that make me happy currently in my late 20s. Another Monday, another vlog. So this is part 2 of navigating your 20s. If you haven't checked out the first one, you can just go back. I will link it in the description below. It'll probably be a tag here, but to be honest, chances are, we always tag it up here, but then what are the chances of you leaving this vlog to go to that one then come back? So if you finish this one, then you can go back to the first one where I speak about my early 20s, which is 20 to 24, and let's go into the year 25 to 28, because I don't know what 29 is gonna look like for now. So yeah, let's go into it. There's certain things, I think, also realizing that there's certain things in your life, that certain transitions that you cannot prepare for, right? And you learn on the go. That is the same with motherhood. It's the same with a lot of different factors. I heard someone say that marriage is the one institute where you get a certificate before you even graduate, in the sense that you have this marriage certificate, you get it first, and then you get the experience and you do life and you see what it means to be married and you figure it out for yourself. So I think something that I've also learned, besides like the diagnosis, it also impacted on some of the goals that I had. And I think also being okay, like I said, in my early 20s, being okay with delays. Because with me, what happened was I honestly thought that I would, after my undergrad, I'm going to do my honors, I'm going to do my masters, and I'm going to study and work in the field of psychology. And after I graduated, I started working, still deciding whether or not I'm going to do my honors. And then the year after that, because that was 2017 when I graduated, and then 2018 I got my diagnosis. And I had actually applied for my honors. I had gotten in for the one, which was education. I'm absolutely passionate about education. I actually saw myself being the minister of education at some point, And so for me, it's a matter of, at that point, it's so easy to feel like, oh my gosh, you are not an ambitious person. You stopped following your passions and your goals, and you wanted to do your masters, and you're not doing this, and you're just, settling. But to be honest, also being okay with the fact that life will throw you some curveballs, and you will take a new direction, a new path altogether. You were on the N1, now you're on the N2, M5, and it's okay. You know what? It's okay. Being grateful for certain things, being grateful for life, being grateful for the fact that you are even in an automobile to even go onto that new direction and that new road, and finding yourself, finding your passion, and finding your new sense of purpose within where you're going and where you're at, and not feeling like it's the end of the world. Because at the same time, don't compare yourself as well, even within your late 20s, that but my friends are doing this person's doing this, my fave, this influencer's doing that. It's not always that people end up in the field that they studied, but as long as you are in the field of your passion and you are making the most of it. Because at the time, after my diagnosis, I was like, listen, show me where the parts are to make the things happen for me to have energy to work full-time, to study part-time, to deal with the whole diagnosis, and to fight for my life, where it was not going to happen. Like, it was not going to happen. And I had to free myself from the expectations of others, from my own expectations. Sometimes we place a lot of expectations on ourselves. Free yourself from the expectations you put on yourself more than those of others and what we think others expect of us. And I then had to be like, it's okay. It is okay to be on this uncharted path. You are experiencing this for the first time. There's no manual on how to have a diagnosis, how to fight for your life, how to now just bounce back. It's the same with motherhood, right? I'm derailing. There's this expectation that, you're going to just bounce back into the same body before you carry this 3.5 or 5 kg baby before your body had to bring life into this world, and you might just snap back, and we become so hard on ourselves for stretch marks, for all these things that our bodies are doing, and not finding the beauty in it, not seeing that, you know what, God, I'm grateful, man, that this body carried full term. I'm grateful that I didn't have as many complications, or that I made it alive through giving birth, you know, and I have a healthy baby, and I'm alive, you know, to take care and watch this baby, you know, live their own potential and live their own lives. So to be honest, I think we become so hard on ourselves in our late 20s. And with regards to friendships, I don't know if I mentioned this, I'm gonna have to go back to the videos, that we become so hard on ourselves and being okay with letting go of certain friendships, you know. Sometimes people are in your life for a certain season, for a certain time, and for a certain purpose, and they leave. It's okay. Like, nothing is permanent. Like, nothing in life is permanent. And so there's this expectation that, oh, friends are gonna be there forever, and we idolize them. We idolize the idea of friendship, that when we do have a friendship breakup, it really hurts, to be honest. It really, really hurts. It does. And I'm not taking away from that, because you kind of saw your, like, you shared so much with this person. You had plans. Oh my gosh, 2023, we're gonna go on that trip. Bali, here we come. And things don't work out the way that you wanted, and it's okay. It's really okay. And at the same time, it's also the hardest to make friends in your late 20s, because it's work and it's just hard. Can we be nicer to one another online? Like, can we just make friends and just be like, hey girl, how you doing? Can we have like that code where it's like we just make friends and we love on one another, and we just have like coffee dates. I don't drink coffee, but like coffee dates, and we support one another, you know, and our passions and what we want to do. I think another thing that was really hard, or that is hard in your late 20s, or now, let me speak as now, if you're in your second half of your 20s, is that the expectation to just bloom without the season of planting and waiting for that season to pass, you know, because we don't like allow ourselves to be cultivated and to till the land, you know. We just expect that we are going to just become, you know, we're just going to become, and it's impossible. We can't just be that. And we see our influencers, we see people that are doing well in their niche and within their passions and their field of work, and we're just like, I want to be there. I want to have those numbers, I want to have those followings, I want to have that watch time, I want to have the kind of engagement that they have. And you don't realize the back work that they had to do, and the growth they went through, and the planting season they went through. We just want to harvest. We just want the end results, and we don't realize, listen, it took this person 3 years, or it took this person, yes, one video to get to where they are, or to be recognized. But that one video took confidence. It took them building discipline, or coming to self-awareness of knowing what their niche and their knowledge is. It's not that simple. You're not just gonna have one video and then bam, you are known, or things are just working out. One thing that I wish I did earlier in my life, that I'm only gonna do, exciting news loading, that I'm only gonna do now in like the second half of my 20s, is putting myself first in the workplace, in the sense that, yes, there's imposter syndrome, and you don't feel as though you are good enough, or you don't realize that you got a qualification, you got the job, which means that you have something. They saw potential, or they saw your knowledge and your abilities and your skill set. But at the same time, then we go into a space of then compromising on wanting to grow, or compromising on our value within a company, or knowing our worth, that we just settle, right? And so I settled a lot in my early 20s, in the workspace, in the people that and how I dealt with certain things, that I didn't allow myself to grow. So many people, like, we had different people come within our company, within my workspace, and you know, I've had people who left who felt like, you know what, I need growth, or it wasn't good for my mental health. They really put themselves first, and you know, it was just like, girl, why aren't you doing that, you know? But I'm the kind of person who thinks for other people. I'm the person, yes, my news, I'm the person who's like, shame, but if I leave now, it's such a peak season in the company or in our processing, that then there won't be anyone who knows the work, and so maybe I should find, you know, is it the right time? Like, I really just end up feeling bad for people. Sorry, this braid is annoying me. Okay, tell I'm done. that I don't think of myself first and say, you know what, it's time for me to shift, it's time for me to reposition myself, to grow, to pivot from this place, and to realize that I am capable of applying for that senior position and I can grow from here. But I limit myself and my so it's good. Okay, let's burp. I limit myself, you know, and my potential. I really did a lot of that in my early 20s, and oh, well done, good girl. I just realized that, you know what, it's okay. I can put me first. They are going to replace me. Even if you die, your company is going to replace you. So listen, I can put me first and grow, and that can be where I realize my value, and be okay with that. It's really like, I just want to free someone that put yourself first. Like this year, like part of my vision on my vision board was that to grow within my career, within the workspace, and to put myself first. And man, oh man, am I doing that? I'm really putting myself first. I'm allowing myself to grow, even if it's not about a new position, even if it's within the skill set. It's just really growing myself, and yeah, and knowing my value, and knowing that I do belong and I don't have to have the imposter syndrome. I think the last thing as well is understanding your foundations. A friend of mine was telling me about the three circles, right? The circle of life, not circle of life, but when it comes to my child's like, yo, what's this makeup? What's going on? Like being able to realize that there is the foundation. The inner circle is the standard. This is the it's the principle. Principles don't change. This is what you stand upon. Then you have the second circle, which is your standards, right? Which is also quite subjective. Like you have the certain standard of your life, whether it be your religion, whether it be certain values that you have, whether it be, whether it be certain, like, you know, certain things that mean a lot to you. And then you have the third circle, which is preferences. Preferences can change. You don't like pineapples on pizza. Tomorrow that could change, you know. Standards, not so much, but principles, never. Don't even let them take even a little bit, right? And for nobody, for no man, she's smiling. Yeah, for no man, because hashtag sometimes men are trash. I'm saying that underneath my breath. And so allowing yourself to realize that, you know what, there's certain things that my integrity, my standards, and my principles that I will not change. I will not compromise on. And there's certain things that are preferences that we can overlook, especially when it comes to things like relationships. Sometimes I feel as though we sometimes are on two extremes, right? We are where we actually compromise our principles and our standards because, oh, I'm in my late 20s and am I gonna find someone? You're listening to this TED Talk. Yeah, my child is like intently looking into my eyes. And then you have times where we allow things that can change, that are not necessarily red flags or standards, to deprive us of good things in our lives, of love, you know, because of what someone else said, or because it's not a red flag for you. It's not a principle matter or a standard. It's just a preference. You don't want somebody who wears flip-flops with white socks, or a Carvela, or who's shorter than you, or who's a year younger than you. And that's just a preference. And it's not to say that your preferences don't matter, or you can't allow them to also be a standard. But sometimes we don't even want to negotiate and to discuss and to see, why do I hold this so dearly to me? Is it a preference? Is it because of something someone else said? Am I doing it because my friend said it? I'm trying to fit in. Or is it generally me? This is what my preference is. And so I think that we should be able to reassess those, look at the non-negotiables. Don't even negotiate. But the things that can be negotiated, that are preferences, to see, am I actually holding myself back from love because my family doesn't want me dating a Congolese person, or someone who's not South African, or because I'm holding myself back because I told myself I would never ever date a Zulu man, and now there's a Zulu man who absolutely loves you and who treats you well, but you've literally been like, yeah, I don't, you know. So sometimes there's this identity we place upon ourselves, and it's something I realized speaking to a friend of mine, Mukhali, that there was an identity I placed on myself that then hindered me from allowing change to happen, because then I felt like I made that my identity. And it's something so small as like, I don't celebrate my birthdays. For the longest time I was like, yeah, my friends always have to celebrate, my friends always have to like surprise me, but I'm also like, you know, I'm not someone who gets surprised easily, because I kind of figure things out because I'm here, I'm watching, right? And so then I realized, like, I had to think deeply, like, but why am I making that my identity? Like, yes, I get it, it's something so small, but I had to think deeply. That it actually brought me to tears, where I was like, is it a matter of like not valuing myself, or not feeling as though I'm not valuable enough for people to celebrate? Because I grew up in a household where we celebrated everything. Every birthday we went away on a holiday. I don't know where they got money from, because mama, I am a mother now with a husband, and I'm like, where the money is, where do you know where the danger is? Being an adult, do you know where the danger is? Wow. I'm just like, when, how, where, like, what was happening with the money, the value of that money. But I literally grew up in that kind of household. We celebrated things. We went out, you know, once a month. You know, every time it was payday, we know we're going to Spur, we're going to something. And yet I grew up, and then I don't practice that. So I'm like, it's not because of how I grew up. So what is it? What makes me not like celebrating or having big things? I'm like, oh, you don't have to make all this effort, and you have to buy an outfit because I have this theme party, and oh, you didn't have to. And I realized that it ends up filtering even into big things and even into milestones where I just then don't celebrate it. You know, I was on TV speaking about breast cancer. I didn't tell. I was just like, oh, if you happen to tune in. I'm not like, hey y'all, tune in tomorrow at this time, watch me. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing, this is so big, I get to share my story. I don't do that. And I had to really think and sit with myself, like, Remo, you know, is this a value thing? Is it that you don't think you're worth people spending money to fly down if you decide you want to have a 30th birthday next year, the big 30, and say, guys, come to Cape Town? Do you feel like, oh, you don't have to spend 2,000 and flies, and give the people the opportunity to say, I can't afford to, or can we rather do this, than to now undervalue yourself and just think, oh, just the bare minimum is okay, it's okay? Or is it a level of, because I have this fear of rejection and rejection and being vulnerable and being ignored, that I then try to save myself from disappointments and from the hurt that I kind of like didn't realize that's what I'm doing subconsciously, but I then have disguised it with my new identity of, I don't celebrate things, you know. So I don't know, I still don't know the full answer, but it's just those things that I've come to realize, that celebrate yourself, celebrate the milestones, big or small. It's not going to look the same. Realize that Instagram is a fraction of anybody's life, and so never compare yourself to that little fraction. And just enjoy life. And going back, the reason why I was speaking about foundations and fundamentals and principles and standards is that also in that time realizing the value of your faith. If you're a Christian, the value of your faith, man, now I think you realize it even more, because as you grow, you start to see how fragile life is. You start to lose people, whether because of COVID, whether because of other diagnoses, whether it's like a parent or a loved one, friendships, career changes. You realize how much you need God to guide you, how much you need to position yourself to be able to hear God and to get direction from God, and how serious having your faith is. Like, it's not just, oh, I go to church or I grew up Christian. It's, I have my own relationship with God, and I may have gone through my early 20s just enjoying life, you know, figuring out school, figuring out mental health, and then you realize, wow, God has kept me. It's by the grace of God. And there's just so much more gratitude and appreciation, and wanting to have that deeper relationship with him, wanting to know him through the word, and making time for that. Because listen, you will prioritize the things that you value. You will prioritize, you will find time for those things. It's like a priority issue and a heart issue. So being willing to work on your relationship. I know it sometimes can be a bit taboo. It's just like, ooh, you know, this Christian thing, it's like a tagline, or just like, you know, airy fairy. But it's just like, listen, it is serious, and we should take it seriously. And we don't want to have to wait till our old age to be like, I should have taken it more seriously. Because, you know, now we say we are kept because of the prayers of our grandmothers and our mothers. But that grandmother, mother is you now. It's you cultivating that habit of prayer, that prayer closet, that relationship with God now. That's not just going to magically happen that you can actually be able to carry generations after you. It's what you do now. It's what you choose to do with your relationship and how serious you are with it, that then you can see God and you can be able to hear him. It says my sheep know my voice. It doesn't just happen instantly, you know. So I think cultivating your relationship with God, very important. Navigating mental health, navigating friendships, navigating finances, navigating new transitions, whether it's career, whether it's family, whether it's marriage, and being willing to grow through it and being willing to be patient with yourself and with others is really what I've learned. And so much more, to be honest. There's a lot more things that I learned in my 20s, my late 20s, that I'm still learning. And I'm going to enjoy this last year. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this last year and really just see like how it goes and make the most of it and tick off all the things on my vision board. Listen, I listened to a vlog by Mpumi and Brendan and I loved it, and you know, it made me actually really look at my vision board, which I hadn't been doing. I keep saying I have goals or I don't set resolutions, but I was more intentional, and to be honest, I saw the rewards of that intentionality and putting it down and speaking it into existence. Like, you work towards it more when it's literally on paper or in existence than just you saying this is my desire, you know. You can hold yourself accountable and things like that. So this is to good life, this is to good health in the year 29, and to growing together and to growing together. So yeah.